phone pouches featured prominently on the final day of the almost 5-year term of the current Irish government. Meanwhile, a recently released movie called The Substance portrays the central character going to horrifying lengths to avoid aging. This weekend's gospel is from the Tuesday of the last week of Jesus' life. Having left the temple, he sits down on the Mount of Olives with his disciples who are enjoying the view of the temple. Mark's chapter 13 is Jesus' farewell speech in which he offers his final words to his disciples and encourages them regarding the crises they are going to face in the future. The language used by Mark is considered apocalyptic. In other words, it refers to the visions of the end times. Very often, the images used in apocalyptic writing are somewhat surreal, with the intention of creating a sense of wonder at the new order that is coming about. Jesus speaks of a series of events that will signal the end of the world as people have understood it, and uses the fig tree and its leaves as an aid. Like the new leaves on a fig tree in spring, Jesus hints that when certain events take place, that people will know that Jesus is returning as Messiah. The strongly held view of most first-century Jews and virtually all early Christians was that history was going somewhere under the guidance of God, and that where it was going was towards God's new world of justice, healing, and hope. The transition from the present world to the new one would be a matter not of the destruction of the present space-time universe, but of its radical healing. St. Paul looked forward to this time and saw Jesus' resurrection as the beginning of the first fruits of it. Christians, therefore, essentially understand any reference to the second coming of Christ as a conviction that God is focused on a future for the world, and the belief that the future has already begun to come forward to meet us. From the beginning of Christianity, we discover the belief that the Jesus who will appear at the end will take the role of judge. The word judgment carries negative overtones for a good many people in our liberal and post-liberal world. We need to remind ourselves that throughout the Bible, not least in the Psalms, God's coming judgment is a good thing, something to be celebrated, longed for, yearned over. In a world of systematic injustice, bullying, violence, arrogance, and oppression, the thought that there might come a day when the wicked are firmly put in their place and the poor and weak are given their due is the best news there can be. In 2024, we live between the ascension of Christ and his appearing again. Far too often, Christians slide into vaguely spiritualized versions of one or another major political system or party. What would happen if we were to take seriously our stated belief that Jesus Christ is already the Lord of the world, and that at his name one day every knee would bow? As elections populate world affairs in 2024, Christian faith potentially frees us from needing to pretend that this or that program or leader has the key to utopia. Equally, it frees us from the despair that comes when we realize that once again our political systems let us down. People who believe that Jesus is already Lord and that he will appear again as judge of the world are called and equipped to think and act quite differently in the world from those who don't. In 2024, It's not uncommon to know 20-year-olds getting Botox as a form of age prevention. Treatments and interventions that would once have seemed scary are becoming standard. Journalist Sarah Caden argues such is the modern day desire to hang on to youth that it's almost conceivable that a serum that literally creates a new you is a promise not far in the future. Neither politics alone, nor treatments and interventions in all their guises can guarantee or shape what is to come. Faith is not for pouches, but rather it is the substance that helps us to be active in shaping God's vision. Faith helps us to be humble but confident that God's vision is unfolding. Amen.